All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty ancient concept that feels like it was made for our modern world. We're talking about that feeling of being completely lost and just overwhelmed by all the noise. I mean, have you ever had one of those days or maybe weeks where you're just constantly busy, but you still feel deeply unsatisfied? You know, like you're lost in the static of everyday life, just running and running, but not actually getting anywhere? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone.
Well, believe it or not, there's a name for this feeling: rijun. It's described as this state of spiritual confusion and deep dissatisfaction. It's that internal chaos, that fog that makes it so hard to understand which way is up.
Okay, so what's the fix? Do we have to just pack it all in, find some remote mountain, and become a total hermit? Is that really the only way to find some peace and quiet?
Well, no, not at all, actually. That's the big misconception, that we need to physically escape the world to find clarity. But the reality? It's actually way more accessible. It's not about a physical escape, it's about an intentional mental entry into a space for real deep thought. This whole idea is captured beautifully in a piece of wisdom from Al-Hikam. It says, "Nothing benefits the heart more than a seclusion through which it enters a field of thought." Now that word seclusion, or Uzlah, that's the key. See, it's not about escaping the world, it's about creating a doorway within it.
So this field of thought sounds great, right? But what is it, really? And how do we actually get there if we're not, booking a one-way ticket to a cave? Let's break it down.
Okay, so the process is called Tafakkur, which is just a way of saying deep reflection. And it's really built on 3 core steps. First, you have to have the right intention. You're learning not just for you, but to help others. Then you move into active learning, really seeking knowledge to understand life. And from there, you get to the final step, that deep reflection where you just ponder everything God has put in front of you. And let me tell you, that first step, your intention, is absolutely everything. There's a saying from the Prophet Muhammad that basically says, if your knowledge grows but your sense of guidance doesn't, you're actually moving away from God. Think about that. Learning without the right purpose can make you more confused, not less. This is echoed in the Quran, where it says that Allah will cast confusion on those who don't use their reason. So you see how it all connects? Failing to do that deep, intentional thinking, well, it leads you right back to that feeling of rijsun we started with. It's a complete cycle. And this whole process, it isn't just about clearing up some mental fog. It's about something much, much deeper. We're talking about the health and the strength of your inner self, what the sources call the Qalb, or the heart. So I want you to take a second and just ask yourself, honestly, how strong is your heart? But how can you even tell? Well, the source gives us a few signs of a fragile heart to look out for. Like, are you easily crushed when someone criticizes you? Do you get all puffed up with pride when someone praises you? Do you find yourself constantly needing other people's approval? If any of that hits home, it might just be a sign that your heart needs strengthening through this practice of Uzlah and reflection. And the stakes here? They're incredibly high. This verse from the Quran just puts it so powerfully. For indeed, it is not the eyes that are blind, but blind are the hearts within the chests. Wow. That tells us that true sight, real perception, it's not a physical thing. It's an internal, spiritual process. So now for the big question. How do we apply this? How do we start to heal that blindness and, begin walking with new eyes? Remember that verse about walking on the earth? Well, it turns out it's not talking about tourism. It's a call to Tafakkur. It's about using our journey through life, even just a simple walk to the store, as a chance to read the signs all around us. It's about finding meaning in the mundane. And this brings us to the most powerful point of all. You don't need a mountain. Your daily life, your job, your family, your wins, and especially your challenges, that is your true field of thought. It's the exact place you're supposed to be to find your clarity. So in the end, it's not about where you are, but how you see. The real question, the one this all comes down to, is this: what will you choose to reflect on today?